Vegas with your neon flashing and the one band is crashing and all those hopes down the drain. Las Vegas, the lifetime proud to die in the daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
Why don't you get a picture with me?
He was just, I don't know what to say. Sorry.
That's bullshit. Similarly, it's utter bullshit that there is some universal morality. Okay, how do we get over this problem? Well, we imagine that there are essentially universal mechanisms for the construction of moral interpretation. Right? The way that you're imagining the situation contains within it, in terms of its organization, in essentially a geometric fashion, a very structural way, how it is, whether it is, you can essentially decide.
And I believe at some point in the future, we'll look back on today and say, oh, capitalism without values? Oh, how primitive. And I think we're at an inflection point where that's changing dramatically.
There has to be equality of income to a degree where people aren't so separated that they live dramatically different lives and avoid each other, where the rich are segregated in their wealth and the poor are isolated in their poverty.
Unemployment until that runs out in food stamps. It's bad here. This place used to boom. If you get laid off from another hotel, you're going to another one like right now. No questions asked. I went 27 years straight. 7 days a week.
How was it?
Great. I made all kinds of money.
And what you did with this money? Or
It's called blondes, alcohol, and cocaine.
Well, there's a huge food revolution going on. I think people in general are growing their own food again. Individually, I mean, especially in Burlington, Vermont, like when you go down the street, you don't see flower beds, you see vegetable gardens.
Let me put it to you this way. When I eat fruits and vegetables and have like a balanced diet, I feel a whole lot more than eating Doritos.
I feel like that I can't get help. Even if I went, even if I go to a doctor, I don't feel like I can get the respect from a doctor that, I'm actually just a regular person. I got hit by a car. Can you help me out? I'm hurting, kind of thing. And not be treated like nobody. My back hurts, so I'm using this car to push on certain spots and bend my back so that the discomfort is released. It's much better when the cars are hot after they've been driving for a while.
We're going to have to close 50 schools, and all these schools are closing. And then all of a sudden I noticed that they're building these mega schools. And it is a corporation who's coming in here who's not from the state. Young people just trying to survive. You don't really see, and not up around here. This is very chill. You look at those sweet people right now. They're just trying to crawl into their house. Like look at them. He's wiping his windshield. These this is not dangerous just because it looks like this.
I gotta go see about getting my food stamps. my name is with an S. Don't leave me out. You gotta go quick.
Foreclosure after 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 foreclosure, and we actually abandon the space afterward. We say we would rather this place be empty. We would rather druggies, looters, vandals strip this place than the struggling family remain here. We encourage them, we implore them that, you know, there are other options. You don't have to accept choices made by powers outside of you.
The reward doesn't come from success. I mean, for me, the reward comes from a community. It comes from being with people and doing something together and saying, like, we have values and we're going to fight for them until we fucking die. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what gives me hope and strength.
The trouble is, these days, in America, we don't really educate people as to how the media is biased in certain respects. I mean, they don't teach anything about how corporate media is run by these corporations which have either left-wing or right-wing stances. One of the things that I've found is that the best way to get the least bias of news is to just look at some international news stations like the German one or the BBC. They're less biased about the stuff that happens in this country.
Pretty much every metric that you look at shows that people are desperate for an alternative to commercial media. You know, the increase in the number of subscriptions to this different satellite, you know, Dish Network and Link TV and things like that. I think that our job is to provide the listeners and viewers with information about what's really going on inside those closed doors of the convention and what's really going on outside in the streets. I mean, there's going to be protests at both conventions. And I think that in the case of the Republican convention, you know, we need to make clear to people what the reality is behind some of these claims that are being made and so on.
Cynicism is actually not cool. Like, snarky humor? Really? Like, all these fucking, you know, progressive weeklies that are just a bunch of snarky asinine, oh, I saw someone doing something stupid. Come on. I mean, this is infantile. Infantile! I mean, I really want to yell louder. I want my, like, throat to scream how childish I think it is.
ALEC, it's the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC is the acronym, and they're a group that brings together corporations and state legislators and basically allows corporations to hand legislators changes to their laws that benefit their bottom line. Some of the biggest corporations in the world are ALEC members. This had included in the recent past some of the private prison industries, Corrections Corporation of America, Geo Group. They were part of the ALEC task force that came up with some of the laws in the 90s, put more people in prison for more time, which incidentally happened to benefit their bottom line because they profit when there's more people in prison.
If they treat you bad, Valley Street doesn't know any limits with bad treatment. There's a maximum security unit called 2B, which a lot of stories come out of, a lot of really bad, sad stories. There have been stories of...
Can you give us some examples of the bad story?
Sometimes people will be in handcuffs and get pushed down a stairwell. Sometimes inmates will get raped. Sometimes the corrections officers themselves. There are a lot of suicides in Valley Street.
I feel unsafe being in the area of Keene, knowing that I can be arrested for nothing. When I am standing back and recording someone, that's not hurting them. When a man who disagrees with me filming him puts his hands on me and throws me in a cage, he has created a victim in me. And so that's why I feel it's so important to video record these individuals to show who is really the victim and who is really the criminal. Because more often than not, It's the people who wear the badges that are the criminals.
And like, we're standing right across the street from the police department here in Manchester right now, and I don't like what those people do. I think that if the police were actually just going after murderers and rapists, then I wouldn't have a problem. You know, if they were actually just going after violent people, then I wouldn't have a problem supporting that. But because they're going after people like my friend Ademo, who's facing 21 years in prison for reporting, because they're going after people for smoking pot, because they're going after people for, you know, not stopping at a stop sign, I mean, all kinds of ridiculous things, I can't support that. That's aggression.
Sings to my soul. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I'm just always here at the end. Someone has to, and it's okay with me.